All right, let's talk about AI agent harness in this video and why this is a core topic of why some of the people feel like Opus 4.6 or 4.5, for example, is a great model, or if it's like a really bad model, or any of these models, right? And why basically all of us have some preferences. For example, some of you probably like Cursor a lot more than Claude Code, than Codex. You might have different preferences about GitHub Copilot and so on and so forth. And I'll also tell you why and how these are fundamentally different things. So the core idea is that how can a model like Opus 4.6, let's take example of this, how can this model actually be good as well as bad at once, right? This is a question. And this actually happens. It's not like a philosophical question or something that just has a perspective meaning. This actually can happen. And the core reason behind that is harness. And harness is a new sort of thing that people have now started to say a lot more this year. I did not used to hear this a lot in the last year, but harness is the new thing now. Let's actually break down what this AI harness is and how you can develop your own AI harness and why you should probably in the first place. So see, an AI model like Opus 4.6, if you look at this model, this is just raw intelligence in its raw form, right? If you look at Opus 4.6 API, for example, the API that Anthropic gives you, that is just an API, right? That is not harness. That is not doing anything special, any magic by default, like if you're not using any tools or anything. That's just pure API in the first place. Now, what happens is that LLMs, which is this thing over here, a large language model is generally not very useful if you're just chatting with it, right? What you want to do is you want to give it tools. What you also want to do is you want to make sure that the context inside the LLM is not exceeding. Because if you give it too many tools, for example, let's say if you are giving it the ability to browse a browser, if you're giving it ability to make edits to your code, run an arbitrary bash commands, at some point you will run out of tools, not because obviously you can just keep on adding more and more tools, but because the context would be too large, right? So you want context management as well. For example, Opus 4.6 has a maximum context length of 1 million. And that is also it's something that you would probably not want to do because the performance start to get impacted at this point, right? So you want to probably keep it under 500K, 300K, so on and so forth. So context management is another task that, you might want to do. Third is, of course, safety features. For example, I don't know if you have seen that, but in Claude Code, there are a bunch of modes which are possible, right? First is like if you just start Claude directly, it'll just start like that. Then you have Claude dangerously skip permissions. This is sort of a mode where Claude would not ask you anything. And then there's a Claude auto mode as well, which basically takes its own guess on, whether what it's doing is right or not. Now, those sort of things also you want to probably incorporate in your, whatever you're doing, whatever real world task you're doing. So we are not getting to harness right now, but this is something that makes sense, right? That you might want to have, for example, it's completely fine for you to run DB queries because, you have given only read-only DB access. Right? So for somebody who's creating a custom harness, let's say, they can just give it a tool which has DB query access without any permission. But for somebody else, they might want a safety feature where the harness or AI actually confirms or asks before it runs the query that is there, right? So these are like 2-3 things I can think of right out of my head, which requires you to build additional software on top of just a large language model, right? Because remember that a large language model is nothing but a simple API call. You give it some tokens, which are just some numbers, and you get some output, which is again like just some numbers, right? That's all what's happening. In order to make it useful as work, as meaningful work, you need to give it real world access, and that is how this is done. Now, this whole thing that I just told you about, this is nothing but an AI harness, right? That is what we call as a harness. If you look at Claude Code, for example, Claude Code is a harness, right? It can run multiple models. It can run Sonnet, Opus, Haiku. You can even hack around and run different models with it. So Claude Code is a harness. Codex is also a harness, right? Codex uses OpenAI's GPT 5.5. That is why you would have seen that people always refer to two things. They refer to the model that they are using, like Opus and GPT, for example, and they refer to the harness that they're using it on as well. So if you use Opus on Claude Code and if you use GPT on Codex, you are basically in the official territory because both the model and the harness has been created by the same company. And same thing over here as well. But then there are a lot of external harnesses as well, which exist for different use cases. For example, one of an interesting use case which is possible with these LLMs is code testing as well as verification. right? Whether your code is actually working right or not, right? So this probably requires a completely different type of harness in the first place, right? What you are doing with your regular editors like GitHub Copilot or Claude Code or even Codex might be much better if you're using a custom harness. And that is where today's sponsor, TestSprite, also comes into play. So TestSprite is exactly that. It's an AI testing agent that handles not only just the testing part of your code base, but also the verification whether the tests that are written in the first place are right or not. Now, TestSprite sort of is a unique harness because it can sit in your existing harness as well, right? So it can modify tweak the harness which you are currently using, and it can integrate itself inside it. It's super simple to get started with TestSprite, and it's super powerful as well. Once you create a free account and log in, you're going to see that on the left, you have a bunch of these links where you can get started either with MCP test or web tests. So just to give you a quick example of how web tests work, which we can experience directly inside the browser itself, you can create tests which are either checking your backend APIs or your front-end applications. You specify either the website URL, in case of front-end, some context on what do you want to test in the first place, the logins it might need, and finally the test files associated with that. Look at this. I gave it my website's address some time back. This is my previous startup, which has now been acquired, and it created a bunch of these test cases automatically, and it also ran them. And you can actually see what the test actually did. For example, over here, it verified that the pricing page is working fine or not in the first place. So all of these tests are actually auto-generated, but you can also generate them on your own wish. For example, if you want to test a specific part of your application or a specific feature, you can ask the AI inside TestSprite and it'll generate that for you. You also get detailed test reports for every single test that it's running, and this can be integrated with your GitHub repository as well. So do check out TestSprite. It's free to start with and also offers first month free of cost if you sign up using my link in the description. Now, one interesting part of this discussion, probably, from the TestSprite discussion, I can also add verification over here as one of the things, right? So your agent harness is also supposed to verify what it's doing, whether that's actually the task is actually done or not in the first place. So what we are seeing over here effectively is that we are approaching a place where Claude Code, Codex, a bunch of these harnesses are more or less trying to optimize for the model that they are for, right? In a way, you can technically run Opus inside Codex and you can run GPT inside Claude Code. It'll be very weird. I'm sure like there are some people who are doing this in the world because it's a weird place. But the idea is that Opus or, Anthropic team at Anthropic is actually optimizing Opus for Claude Code or vice versa. I highly doubt like they are doing anything magical in training that leads it to have a better experience inside Claude Code. But anyway, you get the idea. But at the same time, you will see that there are people who are able to show that Opus is actually much better inside their own harness. Why? Because they are able to provide a much more specific use case or a specific execution environment for the model instead of Claude Code. What you have to remember is that look at these harnesses like Codex, Claude Code, even like GitHub Copilot, let's say, and a bunch of more, right? There are a lot more over here. For example, Anti-Gravity also just happened, right? They just released their CLI recently. The idea is that they are building it for general public, people who are building or trying to build software at least, right? Now, these could be actual developers. These could be new people who are just trying to get into coding. They could be product managers. They could be like XYZ people, any of them, right? The reason I said in the starting of the video that you can probably develop your own harness, and maybe you should, is imagine, let's say you are developing a company harness, right? Let's say your company name could be anything. I'm just making it up. Let's say Google for now. Let's say you have a Google AI as an internal harness, which is not Claude Code, which is not GitHub Copilot, Anti-Gravity, any of this. What this is just day-to-day operations that you're doing inside Google, inside your company, and it simplifies them, right? A very quick, very simple example is, for example, let's say this has a direct prod DB access at all times, right? Because of the environment variable that is configured. And this has basically no security for SQL execution, right? Because you want minimal interruptions for this harness that you have. But this has strict security for any bash command, right? So any bash command that it is executing on your system has to be approved by this. So you can create this sort of harness, which is custom for your use case. I'm giving you a super bad example, but you would actually be able to create a much better contextualized example based on where you are working or what product or what project you are working on. The idea is that this harness is not magic, right? All of these are basically front ends for your model. So all of them are actually also introspectable. And I assume that at some point within the next few months, all of of them would actually be the same in a way. Like they'll be basically same in terms of features or things or stuff that they are able to do. If you look at Claude Code, for example, you will see that they have sort of like an agent team where somebody's going dispatching and doing a bunch of work. Same for Codex. They'll create like a list of there was a recent thing that Codex came up with goal command and then Claude Code copied that, right? All of this is part of Harness, right? Because what is this goal command? This is nothing but just the AI generating a list of tasks over here, and then this main AI which is there, this is supposed to just keep on doing this in a loop. So it'll dispatch other AIs to do this work, and then it'll also have a verification system, right? So this is nothing but Harness, simple code that is written that just keeps working with this Opus model over here or GPT model over here, right? There is basically nothing stopping you from writing your own Harness inside your own company, which would probably be much, much better for you than using Claude Code or Codex internally for specific tasks, right? I'm not talking about general coding tasks. Probably Claude Code and Codex are better for that. But for specific tasks, there is nothing stopping you from creating your own harness. Now, an interesting take that I have about these harnesses generally is that all of this actually will go down the drain the moment we solve, or any of the frontier labs rather I should say, would solve this context window thing, right? Because if you think about it, technically speaking, two things, not just one, sorry. Context window is one, plus even more intelligence. Now, I would probably say that models like Opus and GPT are intelligent enough if they are less than, let's say, 50,000 tokens, right? You can basically ask them to do any sort of sophisticated task or have an actual conversation, and they will be smart enough to do that, right? So if we solve this, let's say if there is virtually no context window for a model like Opus 4.7 or GPT 5.5, like 100 million or so on, and they are retaining that intelligence, right? They are not losing out on information. They are able to keep their focus on attention on what details are important, which things to track, which things to not track. I feel that most of the existing, general purpose harnesses, at least that are there, they would actually go out of business, right? Why do you need Claude Code, Codex, different harnesses when basically you can just have one single AI, like let's say the ultimate harness. This is plugged in with let's say Opus 10, which is like the ultimate model. And this has access to everything, right? Let's say it has 10 million of tools available. And this is it's not losing out on context and it's not degrading its intelligence, right? The moment this happens, that's it. Even the security, I would argue, because the model is intelligent enough, I assume that you don't even need the security, right? The model would just not do something stupid that requires your human intervention. So the moment this context window thing is solved, like we have 100 million context window models with models which are not losing out on their intelligence as the context window scales up, I feel that this whole business of creating harnesses would go down the drain. It'll still be interesting to have custom use cases harnesses because of one of the examples that I just gave you, right? I mean, but even in that case, you can argue that you can just create probably, a rules file or, agents.md file, whatever, which is actually, it's going inside their system prompt and they're not forgetting about it at all, right? But yeah, that's pretty much it for this tutorial. Hopefully you took something interesting on how these AI agent and harnesses work. It's a very interesting topic and something that, is thrown out a lot as a buzzword. It's not as complex as it seems. It's actually super simple. And I recommend you create your own harness as well at some point. Just try to do it and you'll be surprised how far you can go with intelligent models now. So that's all for this video. Hopefully you liked it. If you did, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna see you in the next video very soon. If you're still watching, make sure you leave a comment, "I watched till the end" below to tell me that you were still here, and let me know what do you think about the video.